Hi everyone, my name is David and I'm a tutor at the ASU Economics Tutoring Center. And for today, we're basically going to be solving a very simple macroeconomic problem to find output, wage, the rental price of capital, and we'll also be finding the labor share of output. So to begin with, we'll be given a very simple production function. Output is equal to capital to the 0.5, labor to the 0.5. All right? And we'll also be given that capital will be equal to 100, labor will be equal to 100. And with that, we can find output very easy. So how to find output? That'll just be by plugging in the information we have here into the equation, and we will find that output is 100. Pretty simple. So, question 2, what is wage and rental price of capital? Well, we know from economic theory that the wage should be equal to the marginal product of labor. Essentially, it should be the case that what a worker gets paid is what that worker contributes or produces for the firm. Those two things should be equal, right? So, in order to find the marginal product of labor, very simply, we just get our production function and take the derivative of it with respect to labor. If you need a refresher on how to take derivatives and all that, there is a math section in our YouTube channel that will help you with that. So, the derivative of output with respect to labor should look as follows. This 0.5 exponent comes down, K remains the same, nothing changes there, and L becomes L to the 0.5 minus 1, so negative 0.5. And now if we plug in our values, so 0.5, I'm going to transform or alter this equation into this, which is equivalent, because this negative exponent simply means it should be in the denominator. And so we can find, by plugging in the values, that wage should equal 0.5. So next we'll be finding now the rental price of capital, which we know is equal to the marginal product of capital, and we'll just repeat the same process. We get our output function, we take the derivative with respect to capital this time, and that should be, this exponent comes down and gets subtracted by 1, so negative 0.5, and the L remains the same. Let's transform this into 0.5 L over K to the 0.5, because it is equivalent. We will plug in our values. And we'll find that the rental price of capital is also 0.5. Right there. So to review, output can simply be found by, with our given values of K and L, just plugging it into our production function, and that way we can find that output is equal to 100. To find wage and rental price of capital, well, we know that wage is equal to the marginal product of labor, so we just take this production function and take the derivative with respect to labor. Doing that whole process and plugging in our values here, we can find that wage is equal to 0.5. To find the rental price of capital, the same rule applies. It should be the marginal product of capital, which is the derivative of the production function with respect to capital. We take our derivative, plug in our values, and boom, we find that R is also equal to 0.5. So the next question here is going to be, what is labor's share of output? Essentially, how much of this output goes to labor as opposed to capital? Well, to find that, we just use a simple equation. We know that how much output labor gets is equal to the marginal product of labor times the amount of labor that we have, and that should give us, well, we said that the marginal product of labor was 0.5, times however much labor we have, 100. So we know that labor gets 50 of this output. So let's divide that over the total output, 100. And that way we know that labor gets 50% of the output. That's their share of the output. All right. So now let's assume that we are in a new scenario where instead of labor equaling 100, now assume that labor is equal to 50. It's been cut in half. So what is our new output? What is the new output? Well, we can solve it just like we did the last one. We have our production function. We will plug in 100 for capital, because that hasn't changed, to the 0.5, and then we put in 50 for labor, because that has changed, and we will get that y should be equal to 70.71. There is our new output. All right? And now under this scenario, well, what is the new wage and the new rental price of capital? So, new wage and rental price of capital. Well, same process once again. We've got our production function. So, to find wage, we will just take the derivative of output with respect to labor. So, once again, it's going to be 0.5, right? And then we can plug in our values. Capital stays at 100, labor is now 50. And we'll find that in this scenario, the new wage should equal 0.707. We'll just round that up to 71, and boom, right there, we've got our new wage in this new scenario where labor has been reduced. And we can do the same thing for rental price of capital. We'll take the derivative with respect to capital this time, and it should look very similar. And that should be that the new rental price of capital is 0.35. All right. And for our final question, we were going to want to find the new labor share of output when L is now 50 as opposed to 100. Well, same exact way we did it last time. We get our marginal product of labor, which we found out was 0.71, and we multiply it by the amount of labor we have, which we know is 50. So 50 times 0.71, and we'll put that over the total amount of output, which we discovered was 70.71, right? And with that simple calculation, we'll find that the labor share of output is still 50%. So to review, today what we did is we basically found out how to find output given some production function and some inputs for capital and labor. We went over how to find the wage and the rental price, and we also went over how to find the labor's share of output and how that might change when these factors might change. If you have any further questions, feel free to visit us at the Economics Tutoring Center or just go ask your professor. Thank you.